Man, if you had told me a year ago that my life would fall apart like this, I'd have laughed in your face. But here I am, sitting in my half-empty house, telling you this story because, well, I gotta get it out somehow. Her name's Laura. We've been married almost 15 years. High school sweethearts, you know the type. Everyone said we were meant to be, one of those couples that last forever. Yeah, right. At first, everything was great. Laura was sweet, funny, smart as a whip. She had that kind of smile that could stop you dead in your tracks, and a laugh that made you want to do something stupid just to hear it again. We weren't rich, but we had enough. Small house, 2 decent cars, 2 dogs that shed like crazy, real American dream kind of stuff. We even survived the tough years, money problems, a miscarriage, her dad passing away. Stuff that breaks a lot of couples apart. We stuck it out. Or at least, I thought we did. Looking back, I guess maybe I was blind. Maybe I didn't want to see what was happening right in front of me. About 6 months ago, things started feeling off. It was little stuff at first. Laura being distant. Picking fights over dumb things, like me leaving dishes in the sink or not folding the laundry the way she liked it. She used to laugh when I messed stuff up. Now she barely cracked a smile. She started going to girls' nights a lot more. Started getting all dressed up, heels, makeup, the whole 9 yards, to grab a quick drink with her friends. Funny thing is, half the time when I asked which friends, she'd get real vague. I figured maybe it was work stress. She's a nurse, crazy shifts, long hours, sick people coughing on you all day. Maybe she just needed to blow off some steam. But there was something else too, something she wasn't saying. One Saturday afternoon, we were supposed to go to my niece's birthday party. Laura said she wasn't feeling well, stomach bug, she claimed, so I went alone. But something didn't sit right with me. Maybe it was how fast she said it. Maybe it was the way she barely looked up from her phone when she told me. I kissed her forehead, told her to rest, and drove off. But the whole drive there, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I stayed at the party for maybe an hour, hour and a half. Smiled, handed over the gift, made small talk. But my mind wasn't there. When I got back home, Laura's car wasn't in the driveway. No biggie, I thought. Maybe she went to the store for medicine or something. I waited. Half an hour. An hour. Still no Laura. Tried calling her, straight to voicemail. Tried texting, no answer. Finally, around 9 p.m., she strolled in like nothing happened, carrying a grocery bag like she had just popped out to Walgreens real quick. I asked her where she went, trying to keep my voice light. Oh, just needed some ginger ale and crackers, she said, tossing the bag onto the counter. I thought you were sleeping, I said. She just smiled, that tight, fake smile, and said she felt a little better after getting some air. And I wanted to believe her. God help me, I wanted to. The next morning, while she was still asleep, I checked her phone. Yeah, I know, invasion of privacy, all that. But when your gut's screaming at you, you stop worrying about being polite. There weren't many texts, she was smart about that. But there was one number she had been calling a lot. More than anyone else, including me. No name attached. Just a number. And I recognized it. It was Tyler's number. Yeah, Tyler. Her cousin. Her cousin. Well, second cousin, technically. You know, the kind where you're close enough to call each other family, but far enough that it's not illegal. Still, growing up, they were inseparable at family barbecues and reunions. Inside jokes, playful shoving matches, the whole deal. Tyler was the life of the party, always cracking jokes, always the loudest guy in the room. Laura loved being around him, and I never thought anything of it. I mean, why would I? Family's family, right? At first, I thought, no way. Maybe they were just catching up. Maybe Tyler was going through something, needed someone to talk to. Laura had a big heart like that. I told myself I was being paranoid. Told myself to let it go. But it gnawed at me. A little more each day. The late-night texts. The sudden bursts of laughter when she was on her phone. The way she started locking her phone when she never used to before. So the next weekend, when Laura said she was going out shopping with friends, I decided to follow her. I know it sounds crazy. Not something I'm proud of. But when you feel like the ground under your feet is crumbling, you do what you have to do. I waited a few minutes after she left, then grabbed my keys and got in my truck. Kept my distance. Just enough so she wouldn't spot me. She drove across town. Not to the mall, not to Target like she said. She pulled into the parking lot of this cheap little motel just off the highway. You know the type, flashing neon sign half burnt out, curtains drawn tight on every window. My heart was hammering so loud I could barely hear anything else. She parked, got out, and then Tyler stepped out from behind one of the buildings. I froze. There he was, clear as day, grinning like an idiot. Laura ran up to him and hugged him, not the way you hug family. Not the quick, pat on the back kind of hug. This was different. Way different. They disappeared into one of the rooms. And I just sat there, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. I don't know how long I sat there. Could have been minutes. Could have been an hour. Time sort of stopped. All I could think was, how the hell did it come to this? I wanted to storm in there. Kick the door down. Scream. Throw fists. Whatever you picture in those crazy moments when your whole world flips upside down. But instead, I just sat there, frozen, watching the door they disappeared into. Because deep down, some part of me didn't want to know exactly what was happening behind those curtains. Some part of me thought, maybe if I don't see it, it's not real. I don't know how long I sat in that truck, but it got dark. Streetlights flickered on, buzzing like flies. Finally, after what felt like forever, I saw the door open. Laura came out first, fixing her hair, adjusting her jacket. Tyler followed right behind her, laughing, like he didn't have a care in the world. They didn't even try to hide it. She turned, said something that made him laugh again, and then he kissed her. Right there in the parking lot. Not a quick little peck either. A long, deep kiss, the kind of kiss you give someone when you're completely wrapped up in them. And my heart just shattered. I swear I didn't even feel angry in that moment. I just felt empty, hollowed out. Like somebody scooped out everything good inside me and left nothing but cold air and broken glass. They got into separate cars after that. She drove home. I waited 15 minutes, just sitting there like an idiot, before I followed her back. When I got home, she was already inside. Lights on. TV playing some dumb sitcom like nothing happened. She was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone, laughing at some video. When she heard me come in, she smiled. "Hey babe," she said, like it was any other night. Like she hadn't just betrayed me in a way I didn't even know was possible. I couldn't even answer her. I just mumbled something about being tired and went straight to the bedroom. Lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, listening to her laugh at the TV in the other room. And I thought, what the hell do I even do now? Because how do you confront someone when the person you love most has already made a choice? And it wasn't you? The next few days, I tried to act normal. I went to work. I came home. We ate dinner. We made small talk. It was all fake. Every word. Every laugh. Every kiss goodnight. Fake. 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 Meanwhile, I started watching her closer. Not because I was trying to catch her again. No, because I was trying to understand. How long had it been going on? Was it just physical? Did she love him? That was the question that kept me up at night. If it was just some stupid mistake, some one-time slip-up, maybe I could forgive it. Maybe. But love? If she loved him. That was something you don't come back from. And man, the more I watched, the more obvious it became. She was different around me. Quieter. Nicer, even. Like she was guilty. Like she was overcompensating. One night, I tried bringing up Tyler casually. Said something like, "Hey, you heard from your cousin lately?" She stiffened. It was slight, but I caught it. Then she smiled, forced, tight, and said, "Not really. Been busy with work." Lie. And it hit me. She wasn't just cheating on me with anyone. She was cheating with family. Family. The one person you're supposed to trust the most outside your marriage. I started thinking about all the times Tyler was around over the years. Thanksgiving dinners, summer barbecues, birthdays. The way he always made Laura laugh a little too loud. The way she always found a seat next to him at the table. The inside jokes I wasn't part of. I brushed it off back then. They were family, after all. But now it all looked different. Every laugh, every glance. Like puzzle pieces that didn't make sense before suddenly snapping together. And it made me sick. At first, I thought about confronting her. Just sitting her down and laying it all out. I even practiced the speech in my head a dozen times. But every time I tried to picture it, I'd see her lying to my face again. Or worse, crying and begging and making me feel guilty for catching her. I didn't want her fake apologies. I didn't want her pity. I wanted the truth. The real truth. Even if it hurt like hell. So I came up with a plan. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't mature. But at that point, I didn't care about being the bigger man. I needed to know. And more than that, I needed her to know that I knew. No more secrets. No more pretending. Time to rip the Band-Aid off. So here's what I did. One night, after Laura fell asleep, dead to the world, snoring lightly like nothing was wrong, I got up and dug through her stuff. Not proud of it. Not gonna sugarcoat it. I went full detective mode. Started with her purse. Nothing obvious there. Then her laptop. She always left it on the kitchen counter, plugged in. I figured if she was texting Tyler, maybe they were emailing too or messaging some other way. It took about 5 minutes to guess her password, our dog's name, and her birthday. Real secure, huh? I opened her email. Scrolled. And there it was. Not a full-blown confession or anything. No steamy love letters. But there were enough hints. Receipts from that motel off the highway. Multiple times, different weekends. Random emails confirming appointments at times when she told me she was working late. Even a few event tickets, concerts, comedy shows, stuff I never even knew she went to. And then the kicker. A folder buried deep inside her photo storage. Password protected. But the dummy used the same password as her email. Inside. Selfies. Photos of her and Tyler. At the motel. At restaurants. In his truck. Some normal. Some, not so much. You know what hit me the hardest? They looked happy. Like, really happy. Big, goofy grins. Inside jokes. The kind of smile she hadn't given me in years. It wasn't just about sneaking around. It wasn't just lust. It was something else. Something real. At least to them. After that, there was no more doubt. No more second-guessing. I knew exactly what was going on. And for the first time in a long time, I felt clear-headed. Like, painfully clear. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't paranoid. I was just the last guy in the room to figure it out. The next morning, I acted like nothing was wrong. Made her coffee. Kissed her on the cheek. Told her to have a great day at work. She smiled, told me she loved me. Lied right to my face without blinking. And you know what? I smiled right back. Because now I had a plan. That weekend, we had a family barbecue. At my parents' place. Everyone was going to be there. My brothers, their wives, cousins, nieces, nephews, the whole circus. And yeah, Tyler too. Perfect. I figured, if Laura wanted to play games behind my back, maybe it was time to play a few of my own. I spent all Saturday morning getting ready. Loaded the truck with chairs, a cooler full of beer, even bought extra hot dogs. Played the part of the happy, clueless husband. Laura was acting normal too. Laughing, putting on makeup, picking out a sundress she knew I liked. Part of me almost wanted to believe it wasn't happening. Pretend this was just another weekend. Another barbecue. Another normal day. But that part of me was shrinking fast. When we pulled up at my parents' house, the yard was already packed. Kids running around, someone blasting country music too loud, the smell of burgers on the grill. Real postcard stuff. Laura jumped out, waving at everyone. Like nothing was wrong. And then, of course, there was Tyler. Standing by the cooler, sunglasses on, beer in hand, grinning like he owned the world. When Laura saw him, her whole face lit up. She didn't even realize she did it. It was automatic. She covered it quick, turned to greet my mom, but I caught it. I saw it clear as day. The afternoon went by slow. Eating, laughing, playing horseshoes. Every once in a while, I caught Laura and Tyler sneaking glances at each other. A quick smile. A little nod. They thought they were slick. They weren't. Finally, after a few hours, I decided it was time. I stood up, clinking my beer bottle against the picnic table. Hey, everybody. I called out. Conversations died down. Heads turned. Laura looked at me, confused. Tyler froze, one hand halfway to his mouth with a chip. I smiled big and wide. Fake as hell. I just wanted to say a few words, I said. I just wanted to say a few words, I said, lifting my beer bottle a little. Everyone turned to look at me, cousins, aunts, kids running around with ketchup stains on their shirts. Laura smiled, a little uncertain. Tyler shifted in his seat but kept his grin plastered on. I took a breath. You know, I said, keeping my voice casual, family's a funny thing. It's about loyalty. About knowing someone has your back, even when you're not looking. I saw Laura glance at me, a tiny flicker of worry in her eyes. But sometimes, I continued, smiling just enough to keep it from sounding bitter, you realize that not everyone you trust deserves it. A few polite chuckles. Someone whistled jokingly from the back. They thought I was just being playful, cracking a joke. Good. That's exactly what I wanted. Anyway, I said, raising my bottle, here's to family. The good, the bad, and the surprising. Everyone laughed and clinked their drinks together. Laura laughed too, but it sounded a little forced. Tyler didn't laugh. He just stared at the table, fiddling with the label on his beer bottle. Perfect. The party rolled on after that like nothing happened. Burgers sizzling on the grill. Kids playing tag. My uncles yelling over a horseshoe game like it was the Super Bowl. Laura was the life of the party again. Chatting, laughing, flipping burgers like she didn't have a care in the world. Tyler hung around too, making people laugh, telling dumb jokes. And me? I smiled. I laughed. I played along. But inside, I was watching. Watching every glance. Every touch. Every second they spent near each other. It was like seeing a movie you'd already figured out the ending to, and still sitting through it anyway, just to confirm you were right. It got later. Sun started sinking down behind the trees. The sky turned that deep, golden pink. People started packing up. Kids whined about leaving. Moms corralled toddlers and loaded plates into cars. I helped my dad carry some folding chairs back to the garage. Took maybe 5 minutes. When I came back around the side of the house, I stopped dead. There they were, behind the big oak tree. Laura, Tyler, kissing. Not just a quick peck, either. Not some, thanks for being my favorite cousin, kind of kiss. It was full on. Hands tangled in hair. Bodies closed like magnets. And I just stood there, watching, feeling everything inside me go cold and sharp. I could have stormed over. I could have screamed. I could have knocked Tyler out right then and there. But I didn't. Because something in me, something smarter, colder, said, no, not yet. If I confronted them now, it'd be their word against mine. Lies, apologies, excuses. No, I needed proof. I needed something so clear, so undeniable, that even Laura wouldn't be able to squirm out of it. Something I could put in front of her and say, here, this is what you chose. That night, when we got home, I barely said a word. Laura was buzzing, still smiling from the party, asking if I wanted to watch a movie. I told her I was tired. Went straight to the guest room. Locked the door. And I stayed up late into the night, scrolling through websites on my phone. Hidden cameras. Motion detectors. All kinds of gadgets I never thought I'd be shopping for. By 2 a.m., I had ordered everything I needed. 2 cameras disguised as smoke detectors. 1 small one built into a clock. And 1 tiny one for the hallway. Overnight shipping. I didn't want to waste another second. Because the next time they slipped up, I was going to be ready. And when it happened, there'd be no denying it. The cameras arrived 2 days later. I spent that evening installing them, careful to make sure everything looked natural. 1 in the living room, tucked behind a photo frame. 1 in the hallway smoke detector. Another small one hidden inside an old clock on the dresser in our bedroom. Laura never even noticed. She was too busy scrolling her phone, laughing at TikToks, pretending everything was normal. I felt like a ghost, floating through the house, pretending right alongside her. But I wasn't pretending anymore. I was waiting. It didn't take long. The following Saturday, Laura said she was heading out to run errands. Groceries, maybe a quick stop at the pharmacy. Usual excuses. I nodded, kissed her forehead, and watched her drive away. Then I pulled up the camera feed on my phone. For the first hour, nothing. Empty house. Sunlight filtering through the blinds. Just silence. Then, around 2 o'clock, the front door opened. Laura. And right behind her, Tyler. Bold as anything. No sneaking this time. No pretending. Just 2 people walking into a house like they owned it. I watched them move through the hallway, laughing quietly. Laura tossed her purse on the counter, Tyler following her like a dog on a leash. She turned, and without a second's hesitation, they were in each other's arms. It was wild. Urgent. Like they had been starving for it. They kissed the way people kiss when they've forgotten the world exists. Deep, desperate, hands everywhere. Tyler lifted her up like she weighed nothing. Carried her down the hallway, straight into our bedroom. Our bedroom. The place where I had kissed her goodnight 1,000 times. Where we had dreamed about the future, whispered secrets in the dark. And now, it was theirs. The feed from the bedroom camera kicked in. I should have turned it off. I should have looked away. But I didn't. I watched. Laura pushed him onto the bed, laughing, wild, pulling her hair down from its tie, letting it spill over her shoulders. She climbed onto him, straddling him like she had done with me so many times. Only now there was no love in it. No tenderness. Just raw need. They didn't bother with slow kisses or soft touches. It was reckless. Fierce. 2 people who couldn't get close enough, fast enough. I watched her tear at his shirt, laughing breathlessly. Saw him tug her dress over her head, tossing it to the floor without a second thought. In seconds, they were lost in each other. Bodies tangled, hands roaming with a hunger that made my stomach turn. It wasn't just intimacy. It was chaos. A kind of wild, burning madness that left no room for guilt or shame. They moved like they'd been rehearsing it for years. Fast, fevered, losing themselves completely in the moment. The bed creaked under them. The sheets twisted. Their bodies fit together like puzzle pieces that had always been meant to snap into place. It went on longer than I could have imagined. Minutes stretched into an hour. They didn't stop. It wasn't tender. It wasn't slow. It was greedy. Unapologetic. Laura laughed, not her polite, fake laugh, but a real one, low and breathless, the kind I hadn't heard in years. I watched her touch him like she knew every inch of him by heart. Watched him pull her close like he never wanted to let go. And all the while, I sat there, staring at my phone screen, feeling like I was the intruder in my own life. When it was finally over, they lay tangled together, whispering things I couldn't hear. She traced lazy circles on his chest with her fingers. He kissed her forehead, her shoulder, her wrist. And somewhere deep inside me, something broke. Something final. It wasn't just what they did. It was how they did it. The way she looked at him afterward. Soft, glowing, completely his. She had never looked at me that way. Not once. Not in all our years together. I closed the app. Set my phone down. Sat there in the silence of the living room, feeling like the walls were closing in on me. It wasn't just that Laura had betrayed me. It was that she had already left me. Long before I ever knew. She was just too cowardly to say it out loud. And Tyler. Tyler wasn't some accident. He was the man she had chosen. Over me. Over everything we built. Over every promise we ever made. But that was okay. Because now I had proof. And it was only a matter of time before I used it. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, I knew exactly what I had to do. I spent Sunday setting my plan into motion. First, I backed up the footage. Twice. One copy on a flash drive I hid inside my toolbox in the garage. Another uploaded to a private cloud account only I could access. No way I was letting the proof slip away. Next, I started looking into lawyers. Not just any lawyer, the kind who specializes in messy divorces. The ones who know all the tricks and don't flinch when things get ugly. I found one. A guy named Stephen Marks, highly recommended, brutal reputation. Perfect. Monday morning, Laura acted like nothing had happened. She kissed me goodbye at the door, talking about picking up some new curtains for the bedroom. Laughing about some dumb stories she read online. Like she wasn't living a whole other life behind my back. I smiled. Nodded. Played the part. Inside, I was already gone. Already thinking 10 steps ahead. At lunch, I called Stephen's office. Set up a meeting for the next day. I didn't tell them the full story over the phone. Just said it was about a divorce and potential evidence of infidelity. The receptionist's tone changed immediately. Professional. Sharp. We'll prioritize you, she said. Good. I needed people who took this seriously. That night, I couldn't help myself. I checked the cameras again. And there they were. Laura and Tyler. Back in my house. Laughing, touching, stealing moments like a couple of teenagers sneaking around after curfew. Only this time. They didn't even make it to the bedroom. They barely got through the front door before they were on each other. Right there against the wall, like they couldn't wait another second. It was frantic, reckless, almost angry, like they were daring the world to catch them. And me? I just watched. No anger. No sadness. Just detachment. Like watching strangers on TV. At some point, Laura said something. I couldn't hear it, no audio on that camera, but the way she said it made Tyler grin wide. He picked her up again, same way he had before, and carried her toward the bedroom. I shut the app off before they disappeared down the hallway. I didn't need to see it again. I already knew enough. I was going to walk away from this with my head high and make sure she remembered exactly what she threw away. Because whatever came next, it was going to be on my terms. Not hers. Not his. Mine. Tuesday morning, I put on my best shirt and drove downtown to Stephen Marks' office. It was in one of those tall, glass buildings, the kind where everything smells like money and ambition. The receptionist barely looked up as she waved me toward a private conference room. Mr. Marks will be right with you, she said. I sat there for a few minutes, tapping my fingers on the table, thinking about everything I had seen. Everything I was about to say out loud. When Stephen Marks finally walked in, I knew right away he was the guy for the job. Tall, lean, sharp eyes that missed nothing. The kind of guy who didn't waste time with small talk. He shook my hand firmly, sat down, and opened a leather notebook. "So," he said, "tell me everything." And I did. I told him about Laura, about Tyler, about the cameras, the footage, the motel meetings before that. Stephen didn't blink once. When I finished, he nodded, flipping through a thick folder he had pulled out of his bag. "You're in a better position than most," he said. "You have undeniable evidence of adultery. That matters, especially here. Judges don't like liars." He leaned back in his chair, studying me. "How far do you want to take this?" I didn't even hesitate. "All the way," I said. His mouth twitched into a small smile, not friendly. More like a wolf baring its teeth. "Good," he said. "Then here's what we're going to do." For the next hour, he laid it out for me. We'd file for divorce on grounds of adultery. We'd request exclusive possession of the house, citing emotional harm. We'd freeze joint accounts immediately to prevent her from draining anything before the papers hit. And if it came to it, we'd subpoena Tyler too. "Drag him into it," Stephen said, almost casually. "Let's see how committed he is when it's not just backseats and motel rooms, but courtrooms and depositions." I felt a grim satisfaction settle in my chest. For the first time in months, I felt like I wasn't helpless anymore. I had a plan, and I had someone in my corner who wasn't afraid to throw a few punches. On my way home, I stopped at a hardware store, bought a new lock for the bedroom door, and a safe. Laura didn't notice when I carried it into the garage later that night. She was too busy on her phone, probably texting Tyler, setting up their next errand. I installed the safe behind a rack of paint cans. Inside, I locked away the flash drive, some cash, and a copy of the house deed, in my name only, thanks to my mother gifting it to me years ago. Little by little, I was cutting the ties she didn't even realize were slipping. That week, I started moving quietly, closed my personal savings account, and opened a new one she didn't know about. Transferred my paycheck there. Changed the password to my phone. Started keeping copies of every document, bank statements, car titles, insurance papers. If she thought she was going to blindside me, she was in for a rude awakening. I wasn't playing defense anymore. I was planning my exit and hers. Thursday night, after dinner, Laura was on the couch, laughing at some video again. I sat across the room, watching her, really watching her. And it hit me. I didn't even recognize her anymore. The woman I married, the girl who used to dance barefoot in the kitchen and fall asleep during movies, she was gone. All that was left was this stranger sitting on my couch, lying to my face. And the funny part? She thought she was winning. Thought she was pulling off the perfect crime. Smiling. Laughing. Never even realizing the ground was crumbling under her feet. I smiled back at her across the room. Because soon, real soon, the laughing was going to stop. And when it did, she was going to remember exactly who she underestimated. Saturday came faster than I expected. Laura was buzzing with excitement that morning, talking about a girls' brunch she had planned. Another excuse, another lie. I just nodded, smiled, played dumb like always. Because today wasn't going to end the way she thought. Today was my day. By noon, I had everything ready. The house was spotless, almost like I was expecting guests. Which, in a way, I was. Laura left around 1 p.m., blowing me a kiss as she grabbed her purse. "You're the best," she said. Funny how easy it was for her to say that with someone else's number in her phone. I waited 10 minutes after she drove off. Then I grabbed my truck keys and left too. Not far. Just around the corner, out of sight, but close enough to see everything. Sure enough, half an hour later, a familiar beat-up Chevy pulled into my driveway. Tyler. Right on schedule. I watched him strut up the front steps like he owned the place. Watched him let himself in with the spare key Laura kept hidden under the planter. Watched him disappear inside, not a care in the world. I waited another 5 minutes, just to be sure. Then I texted Laura. "Hope your brunch is fun. You left your wallet at home." It took her 2 minutes to reply. "Oh no, I'll come back now. Thank you, babe. Love you." I could almost hear the panic in her typing. Good. I waited until I saw her car tear around the corner. Then I slipped in through the back door. Quiet as a ghost. The cameras were still recording. The house was already telling me everything I needed to know. I moved down the hallway, heart pounding, not with nerves, but with a kind of cold, clear energy. I reached the bedroom door, half open, and pushed it gently. And there they were, Tyler and Laura, together. Again, bare skin, tangled sheets, laughter that died instantly when they saw me standing there. Laura gasped, scrambling for the blanket. Tyler swore under his breath, grabbing for his jeans. I didn't raise my voice, didn't throw a punch. I just pulled my phone out of my pocket, calmly tapped the screen, and hit play. The bedroom speakers crackled to life, and their own voices filled the room. The recording from 3 days ago. The moans. The whispered promises. The sound of Laura calling Tyler's name like it was the only word she knew. They both froze. Laura's face went white. Tyler stared at me like a trapped animal. I let it play for a good 30 seconds before pausing it. The silence afterward was louder than any scream could have been. I tucked the phone back into my pocket, took a slow, easy breath, and then I spoke. "You know," I said. At first, I thought maybe I was crazy, paranoid, imagining things. I took a step closer, but turns out, I was just trusting the wrong people. Laura opened her mouth, maybe to beg, maybe to lie, but I held up a hand. "Save it," I said. "I'm not here for apologies." I pulled a manila envelope out of my jacket and tossed it onto the bed. Inside, the divorce papers. Already signed. Already prepared. "And Tyler," I added, turning to him, "just so you know, you're named in the paperwork too." He blinked. "Me?" "Yeah," I said casually. "Adultery with a named party. Look it up. You're part of this now." Tyler's face turned the color of wet paper. Laura looked like she was about to faint. "Good. You have 48 hours to get your stuff and leave," I said. "My lawyer's already filed. The accounts are frozen. The house stays with me. It was gifted from my family, remember? You're entitled to exactly nothing." Laura's lower lip quivered. "But where will I go?" she whispered. I smiled, real slow. "Should have thought about that before you brought your little boyfriend into my bed." I turned on my heel, walked to the door, and paused. Looked back at them. The two people who thought they could destroy my life and walk away clean. "By the way," I added, tapping the side of my head, "every camera caught everything. You're going to be famous in divorce court." And then I walked out. No shouting. No second chances. Just the quiet, heavy truth, hanging in the air behind me like smoke from a house fire. Driving away that day, I felt lighter than I had in months. The betrayal still hurt, sure, but the power was mine again. Not because I yelled louder. Not because I hurt them back. Because I stayed calm, stayed smart, and made sure they never saw it coming.